So all these animals, the plants, the fish, the shrimp, and the cardinals are all raised here. We breed every one of those animals. So they're not wild caught. So these animals are not wild caught. They're all already acclimated to be living in a tank. And so it makes them easy to adapt to a small environment like this. They just need a little bit of food, some clean water, and just a little bit of light so the plants do well, so the filtration and everything does well. So we have, depending on the size of the bowl, more fish, more shrimp, and the bigger size, and the smaller, not as many. So it goes from like 4 to 5 animals to like 18 to 15 animals to the bigger bowls. These animals stay small. They don't get much bigger than what you see, like an inch or less. The shrimp stay small, and they do their thing and they keep everything active. The big thing is to keep it clean and do a bit of trimming because the plants grow. So over here, this one hasn't been set up for a while, so sometimes if you go away, those fish will be fine for weeks without food. They have so many things in there to pick on and forage. So after a while, you know, some of these plants will tend to grow out of the tank or really fill up the tank, so you want to trim it down or, you know, scrub it and clean it. And so we're just going to do this one here. And so you could either take everything out and retrim, which is a possibility, or you could just cut them and just let them regrow. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. So I can go in here and I can get the piece of wood with the Java moss, and this one has grown for a while, and just so we can see that there's many ways of trimming this. We'll get to that in a moment. So put that here. So here we have, you can see roots in there, you can see all kinds of stuff. So there's many things you can do. One of the things I like to do is just restart the thing because it's a small tank, so it's nothing major. I usually take everything out when it's at this level. When this tank hasn't been touched in like a couple of months, you know. So I just take everything out. You see roots, everything's growing well. It's just a little leggy. It needs to be trimmed and replanted. Again, more roots. So, and then we're gonna take more plants out, more roots. And we have all kinds of different ferns, and so these needs to be replanted. And more of this. This one's easier to work with because it's bigger, and since I took the water out, so I can put my hands in. See its roots. So this one looks pretty good. The fish are still in there. I have here a small gravel cleaner, so just a short one, you know, so these work okay. And then we just, again, we fill it with water. So keep both hoses at the same level so it's ready to go. Put my finger on one, put the other one in. Go. So in order to trim Java moss on a piece of wood here, this one's kind of really grown, so it took a lot of space in the tank. So you can do it over here, just on a flat surface. Just want to make sure that you get a nice flap here, and then you just follow the edge. So, you know. And on this side is the same. Just trying to when you trim this, it'll start branching off again. It'll grow nicely again. It'll start getting healthy. It's because right now a lot of the moss is just leggy and long, and just basically a little too much. So, and it's still nice and anchored, so it's still well anchored on the wood. You know, you can rinse it off a little bit under the tap. So not enough water from the tap to affect the chemistry of the tank here. So if you're worried about it, just let it drip a little bit more. You could probably even take a little towel and wipe it down and dry it up, but you just wanted to get the dust off of it. So we're right back to where we need to go. So one of the things I do is you can put your piece of wood back in here, you know, and rough it up a little bit so it doesn't look like it's been trimmed. you know, and a haircut. You can probably even lean the wood on the side if you want, so you can have a place for the fish to hide underneath, or you could just lay it on the ground. That's personal preferences. So here we got the plants. Those are all aquatic plants, so we're just going to trim them where it needs to be done. So right now they're getting really long, so the best thing to do is to literally cut them. And then I like to take a few bottom leaves off. Just a few. Okay. Do this again. And you can just slowly replant them, because they're going to regrow. They're going to go straight line, but it's nice to have a little bit of. Put them back. It's easier to work on planting plants when there's not a lot of water in the tank. So you can use tweezers on the small plants. Or just slowly put them in wherever you want. And just nature will take its course after that. It'll grow. So when you worked on your tank and you got it all sort of planted the way you wanted, you want to refill it with water, but you don't want to put the water right in, because you're just going to start making a mess. You're going to start uprooting everything. And so what I like to use is I take a Ziploc bag. It's a little harder plastic, so I usually put it over into the tank, just like this. Right, so it's in. And then I slowly fill that way, so I don't even have to put my hands in it. I just let it go. So this plastic works really well. So slowly, it evens up the water, so the water doesn't have a chance to disturb what you've done or the work you've done. Take your bag out. It's still good. Keep it for later. You want to keep a lot of room in there so the fish can start swimming around. And so here you have it. You just do a little wipe downs and we're good to go. It's nice to have on this little spinning plate, or carousel, or however you. It's going to take a little bit of time for everything to settle down, because you just kind of worked on it.